shoes. Slip it, cuff it, check it, talk to doctor now and share it.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Blood clots can happen to anyone. Up to 900,000 people in the United States are affected by blood clots each year, and 100,000 die from them. Blood clots don't discriminate. You or a loved one could be at risk right now. The good news is blood clots can be prevented. Knowing the risks and symptoms are key. On average, 1 person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max in the morning.
LA Sports Talk all day long. 710 ESPN.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. You can watch us, hang out with us. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Harry Douglas, Jason Fitz, little sneak peek of Fitz and Harry that starts tomorrow, noon to 3 p.m. Eastern every day. Myself and Harry Douglas hope you'll hang out with us on the ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. You're going to be hanging out with Tom Brady a little longer.
You hope they hang out with us.
Yeah, I was being nice. But
I'm demanding it.
Okay, Harry's demanding it.
Y'all better hang out with me and Fitz from 12 to 3 p.m. every single day starting tomorrow.
See, that works from Harry.
See, black people don't live by no hope theory.
Okay, well.
We hope y'all hang with us now.
No, see, middle-aged white people live on the, I don't want to be too pushy here. I don't want to be a Karen. I just want to ask that you'll please consider hanging out with us. One thing we're going to do on the show is do a little exclusive content for our podcast every day. And I only tell that because anyone watching on TV right now, my eyes look like I was crying. It's because I was. Things got a little out of control during the break. All right. Things got out of control on Sunday for Tom Brady and the Bucs. He went off. Tom Brady went out and just absolutely did one of those epic moments that you see from the greats where you come out and say, I'm going to find a way to win this game. And it's funny because we were watching here at Seaport with all the NFL folks. And when Randy Moss was standing there, Randy Moss was there. The Panthers were winning. And
they were doing a great job.
And Randy Moss was letting the whole room know that the Panthers were winning, and he called it. Then Moss left. And everything went downhill. He should have come back because obviously Brady was waiting for Moss to leave the room with us before he went off. But my God, what a performance for Tom Brady.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, seeing Tom Brady and playing with Randy Moss, you would never say that Tom Brady was waiting for Randy Moss to leave. But in that particular moment, he probably was waiting for it because as soon as Randy Moss went to go catch his flight back home, that's when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers started to turn things around. And I'll tell you, Fitz, and being able to watch, Tom Brady for a very, very long time closely, I can never count the man out. So many people count him out because of his age and what he's been able to do, winning a Super Bowl 2 years ago, but just steering this team and keeping them afloat, right? Because they haven't played their best football this year. I think they've only played 2 games versus Seattle in Munich in the first game of the year versus the Dallas Cowboys. Those are the only 2 games I think that they played great football the entire game. Now, I say that because you have a guy like Tom Brady who in the playoffs who's 35-12, right? He has 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 Super Bowl wins. All you want to do is get into the dance. Why, Fitz? Because you have a chance. I say it one more time, y'all. Y'all ain't know I was going to come on here and rhyme today. All you need to do, Fitz, is get into the dance because you have a chance. The chance to do what? Chance to make a run. I believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they probably going to be matched up, I think they're going to be matched up with the Dallas Cowboys, right? That's a team that they've beaten already this season, game 1. Granted, this is not the same Dallas Cowboys team. This is not the same Tampa Bay Buccaneers team as week 1. They also played them last year, a year ago. I like the chances that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have because of a guy named Tom Brady. Now, the offensive line is going to be a question. Can those guys be able to hold up? Can the defense, who gave up 341 passing yards to Sam Darnold, can they hold up? I'm banking on those guys being able to flip a switch and be great for one outing. and that one outing is going to be against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and that matchup is set because right now there's no chance that the Buccaneers can move up to the 3 seed. They will be the 4th seed, and there's no chance that anybody can catch Dallas for the 5th seed. So the first round matchup will be the Cowboys at the Buccaneers. Look, I think you're right. Obviously, the Buccaneers have a big win over Dallas week 1. This season did not go the way that the Buccaneers wanted it to go.
Not at all.
And what's amazing is, as we were sitting there talking during the break, you mentioned a lot of people are out on Tom Brady. But when you look at the numbers, Tom Brady has actually had a very good year, right? For an 8-8 football team. And that's the part of it. Like, it's hard to figure out. Yeah, their offensive line has had issues. Their defense has had issues. This was a game where Brady went off, and it came down to the wire against what I think is a bad Panthers team. So there is a disconnect between having good players and being a good football team compared to the standard that we thought Tampa Bay was going to be held to. They are currently 8-8. As they finish their season, the presumption is that they'll finish, I'm guessing, with the winning record. They'll finish 9-8, even if they finish 8-9, doesn't matter. But they play the Falcons next week. So in theory, they finished 9-8. Statistically, they look like they should be much better than a 9-8 team when you look at Brady's numbers. But the fact is that hasn't equaled wins. And so for me, no matter how good Brady is and no matter how good Brady has been, the Bucs just haven't looked like a good football team. So I have a hard time being scared of Tampa Bay in the playoffs because simply the football team hasn't looked good enough.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why you're scared of them if you're any opponent is because they do have the history. Right? You still have a lot of carryover from this roster when they did win the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And granted, every year is different. And I don't want to keep banking on what they did 2 years ago because they are not that football team. But if you're going into the playoffs and you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're like, okay, we got Tom Brady. We got the greatest of all time, a guy that we know at any given moment can turn a switch and just make things work. And I think Tom Brady did a great job in this game of getting the football to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, his 2 most valuable weapons. Mike Evans, since coming into the Football League, National Football League 9 years ago, has 1,000 yards in every single year. A lot of people take that for granted. I don't think people understand how hard that is to do. Every season in the National Football League, you equips over 1,000 yards. That's phenomenal. Chris Godwin had a big game as well. Even though he had a fumble, he had 9 targets, 9 catches. His fumble kind of hurt a little bit, but I don't think the Carolina Panthers actually scored off of the fumble. But you don't want to fumble and give your opponent any opportunity because if that's a playoff game, that's an opportunity that the opposing team can use against you, right? Can score points off of that turnover. I just look at them in the run game. The run game is another reason why I think Brady, you see, the numbers from Brady because the run game has been non-existent. The offensive line hasn't been able to get the push, and they're so dependent I think on the quick game, on getting the ball into the receiver's hands and big body guys to allow them to make plays. But Brady being in the playoffs, I think it's a good thing for the National Football League because there's always that suspense. It's the same thing as Aaron Rodgers, right? When you have 2 guys that are going to be Hall of Famers and they make the playoffs. Now, Rodgers hasn't made it yet. Brady's in it. But let's just say, hypothetically, Aaron Rodgers makes it. That's going to make some people nervous because of the names of those guys and what they've been able to do while they've been in the National Football League.
Brady, 34 of 45 for 432 yards, 3 touchdowns, and by God, a rushing touchdown. Like, you know things are getting weird when all of a sudden.
How much did Brady throw for again?
432 yards.
What? And you're going to tell me people are not going to be scared of Tom Brady because he's in the playoffs?
I'm not. I'm telling you people aren't scared of the Bucs. I ain't saying people aren't scared of Tom Brady. You're always scared of Tom Brady. He threw for 432 yards, and it took every ounce of that to beat the Panthers 30-24. This is not a breaking hot take. The Cowboys are better than the Panthers.
But the Panthers have been good.
But the Cowboys
since,
are better.
Steve Wilkes has taken over that football team.
I mean, good or – I mean –
they've been decent. They've been in a position to where if they would have won that game yesterday, they would have made the playoffs.
I mean, correct. I get that. But, the Cowboys –
Granted, Sam Darnold had 3 turnovers in that game, an interception and 2 fumbles. But Sam Darnold was throwing some darts out there, man. He was fitting some throws in some windows and throwing some balls on ropes that I was like, man, Sam Darnold must be upset. He got benched for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I know.
And PJ Walker.
There's some brands we're scared of Tom Brady. There's some brands we're not scared of Sam Darnold. I'm just saying so we'll see if the Bucs can put it together. In the meantime, a big day for the Bucs. It was a big day for Philly. For the wrong reasons. The Eagles lose again. So how much panic is setting in for Philly now that the Eagles have lost 2 straight? We'll break it down next. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Jason Fitz, Harry Douglas in for the guys on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
the best who ever did it, Deion Sanders.
Prime time.
What's up, Prime?
But this is my favorite three guys, man. I love you guys differently, respectfully, and hopefully. Trust me.
This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
710 ESPN.
It's Key. Happy New Year. As we get ready for 2023, don't forget to make the New Year's resolution to start each weekday with my show, the best football talk in LA. Plus, Lakers, Dodgers, and USC. Keyshawn in the morning, 6 to 10 a.m. Right here on LA's mega sports station, 710 ESPN.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting, like basketball analyst Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join the V Foundation team. 100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now at V.org.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
And wolf?
Oh, a wolf.
Ooh! What about the tiny dog? Cat. Owl.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale.
Yeah, well, so.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the
right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The future depends on teachers. Every day, teachers are shaping our tomorrows, starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who will make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who will help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who will be the first in their family to graduate college. It all starts with teachers who meet challenges with creativity, who reinvent education for the future, who work towards a school system that lifts up every child, regardless of race, income, or zip code, and to enable the full potential of our students, our communities, and our country. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Every moment of the Lakers happens here.
Alley-oop! AD slams it, and the place is going nuts!
You gotta do it big when you represent the purple and gold.
Shovel pass. LeBron with a tomahawk dunk.
I do it too big, too big, too big. I do it too big.
No matter what, we just gotta build and keep stacking winning habits.
Stolen by LeBron. Here's LeBron on a breakaway. Another windmill.
I do it too big. The biggest show coming out of Hollywood is LeBron, AD, and the Lake Show.
AD, three-pointer, good. Anthony Davis is doing it all.
I do it too big.
Just staying locked in. Our team is locked in right now. We're very focused on both sides of the ball.
Three-pointer by Reeves. It's good! Austin Reeves with a dagger!
This is where the big shots fall for the purple and gold. 710 ESPN.
Your home of Lakers basketball this season.
And the place is going nuts!
710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Travis. As we get ready for 2023, don't forget to make the New Year's resolution to spend each weekday morning with Travis and Sliwa. We talk all your LA sports, Lakers, Dodgers, Rams, USC, and we have plenty of fun and frivolity. Travis and Sliwa, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here on LA's mega sports station, 710 ESPN. 710 ESPN.
I spent a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. And in 09, it was sparks from me, your chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max in the morning.
On LA's mega sports station.
LA Sports Talk all day long.
710 ESPN.
Pickett in the gun. Empties the set. Third needed to 10. Gets the snap. He looks. Chased out of the pocket. Steps out of a tackle. Throws it for the goal line. Touchdown, Najee Harris. Najee from 10 yards out. And Pickett did a Houdini to make that play possible. And the Steelers jump ahead of Baltimore.
Sports Center. For the second week in a row, Kenny Pickett's calm demeanor and precision passing helped the Steelers drive the field, score the go-ahead touchdown with less than a minute remaining. Come on, guys. This is like a week after the Raiders are making me come on. 16-13 comeback win over the Ravens. Fine. Pickett completed 5 of 6 attempts for 64 yards, including the 10-yard touchdown to Harris to retake and keep the lead in a big Sunday night matchup. Speaking of quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers won, and he had a good game. Packers suddenly just a win away from an improbable playoff berth. He has his defense and special teams to thank for continuing Green Bay's reversal of fortune. Keyshawn Nixon, also former Raider, scored on a 105-yard kickoff return. Darnell Savage had a 75-yard pick six to Cousins in a 41-17 butt whooping of the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. The Packers will reach the playoffs if they beat the Detroit Lions at home in their regular season finale. And yes, but whooping is the actual professional term. All right, moving on to another quarterback we're contractually obligated to talk about all the time, Tom Brady. Threw for 432 yards, 3 long touchdowns to Mike Evans. The Bucs erased a double-digit fourth-quarter deficit for the second week in a row. They clinched their second straight NFC South championship with a 30-24 victory over the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. SportsCenter is presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you buy a motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit Progressive.com. Throws a quick one, and that's picked up by Marshawn Lattimore.
Played a really bad game today offensively.
Right now for them, that secondary and that defense, which we thought was a championship-level defense, doesn't look to be.
Definitely the most ticked off that I've seen in the locker room this year.
Let me get a free never second, man. Sipping in the black rain, passing in the red.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPN everywhere, Sirius XM Channel 80, just all the ESPNs. He's Harry Douglas. I'm Jason Fitz. I want to correct myself, Harry. I'm always the first to stand up and be like, whoops, my bad. The matchup between the Cowboys and Bucs is not set, right? The Bucs are locked in where they are. But the Cowboys would be in this seat as the top wild card unless, dun, 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 they win and the Eagles lose, because the fall of the Eagles now has them in a situation where on Sunday they're playing for either the top seed in all of the NFC or the top wild card. The Cowboys are still in this thing because 2 straight losses for Philly. So thanks for everybody on Twitter, sincerely and genuinely, for pointing it out. That is my bad. I was wrong. Things have melted down for the Eagles with 2 straight losses. Now, on the one hand, you could say, well, we got the mustache man, not Jalen Hurts as our quarterback. Of course we've lost 2 straight games. What should the level of panic be in your mind for Philly?
I think it should be a little panic because of the simple fact that Jalen Hurts isn't your quarterback right now. I don't know where he is injury-wise. I don't know if he's going to play in the last game. I'm assuming he's going to play in the last game with so much on the line. But we got to remember, it also is his throwing shoulder. And we do know how valuable he is when it comes to the quarterback run game. And Shane Steichen, their offensive coordinator, has done a great job, phenomenal job this season, drawing up things and designing things for Jalen Hurts in the run game. Now, since he's been out, that's one of the things that's been missing. You look at the Dallas Cowboys game, I didn't think the Philadelphia Eagles rushed the football effectively. They had 29 carries for 87 yards and 1 touchdown. But you actually seen the, I don't want to say non-athleticism from Gardner Minshew, but you didn't see the athleticism that you normally see from Jalen Hurts that can extend plays, that can, help you get those wild plays to get your team in a position to win football games. Also, against the New Orleans Saints, the Eagles rushed the football 15 times for 67 yards. So the run game for the Philadelphia Eagles, whether it's Jalen Hurts running the football or the running backs carrying the football, has really taken a hit since he hasn't been back there.
Stride. I mean, the Dallas one, I won't say that, but they know how good they are. They've held a good perspective about where they sort of stand. But this one, you could sense really for the first time, at least to me, they were fuming a bit.
Well, and you've been in locker rooms where teams are being decimated with injuries. Like, there's a combination of you know the moment you're in. If you're in that locker room, you know the importance of trying to win. You know that you got to be healthy to do it, and you're watching things outside of your control. Like, athletes love to control the controllables, right?
Yeah.
When things outside of your control start impacting the way your season is going, I cannot imagine that doesn't become a frustration.
Well, of course it does, but you got to look at this though. You got to look at who's hurt. The leader of this offense, the leader of this team, in Jalen Hurts, he's injured right now, right? And it's just different when he's at the quarterback position because I'm going to use the Indianapolis Colts game that the Eagles played. The offensive coordinator, Shane Steichen, realized that was a rough day for them from an offensive standpoint. But when you have Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, you can say, you know what? I'm going to call plays and design things for Jalen Hurts to put this team on his back, to carry us and get us over the hump. When he's not out there, you can't do that. Also, when you have another leader on your team in Lane Johnson, who's been phenomenal throughout his entire career, and blocking for quarterbacks in the run game, and then for running backs in the pass game and running backs for the run game, he's not out there. That carries weight. So now other guys have to try to pick up that slack. And then also I'm looking at the game yesterday, and I'm watching how, the corners, Marshawn Lattimore, and those guys are sitting on certain routes. And I study the Eagles offense, and I know that based on certain formations, some of the things that they're going to run, when, Marshawn Lattimore jumped the route early on in the game, then you come late and you throw another quick game and he jumps at it and takes it for a pick six, why not double move him? So now as an offensive coordinator, if we're lacking certain things from the quarterback position, in which they did against the Dallas Cowboys because, Trayvon Diggs is a guy that's going to jump routes.
We're hot route. This is live radio. It's ESPN radio, by the way. Keyshawn, J. Willimax, Harry Douglas, Jason Fitz. We're filling in for the guys. Fitz and Harry starts tomorrow. I'm filibustering here. Noon to 3 Eastern starts tomorrow on ESPN radio. You can hang out with Harry Douglas and myself.
There's the commercial break right there.
Yeah, there we go. That was the commercial break.
There
So it's interesting because Philly, like I said, they win, top seed. They lose and the Cowboys win, they can end up as the top wild card. And it started this conversation as we were trying to figure out what is Super Bowl or bust.
A heated conversation.
We got heated.
We got heated. Me, you, Yates, Pat Costello.
Yeah.
Our producers.
Everybody
it got heated. It got heated.
But I think the one of the interesting things about Super Bowl or bust is it really comes down to expectations. And I'm not even talking Super Bowl for a second. Like yesterday, Harry and I watching the Raiders play together. Harry was laughing at me. But the Raiders lose a football game. And I didn't expect them to have any sort of a shot in that game. So the fact that they were in that game, I was like, this is fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which reminded me of how I felt last year. I didn't think the Raiders were going to be a playoff team last year. They were. So I was like, this is fun. When the Raiders lost to Cincinnati, I was like, yeah, that sucks. But it was just awesome to get to watch a playoff game. Like there wasn't some Super Bowl or bust expectation. A lot of these teams, like if the Lions make the playoffs this year, it's not Super Bowl or bust. But there are a handful of teams that I think are under that level of pressure. A team like the Bills, who we're sitting here saying every year we're right on the cusp of it. A team like the Chiefs that are constantly saying, hey, we got Mahomes. We should be in Super Bowl bust category. The way we talk about Aaron Rodgers and the way we talk about Tampa Bay is always, Tom
Don't just
Brady.
say you say his name.
Tom Brady.
You say his damn name. Talking about the way we talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The way we talk about Tom Brady.
All right, so where are you on the Eagles?
Tom Edward Brady. Thomas is at that. Now,
are you
for the
done with
Eagles, I'll say this about the Eagles. I will say this. Now, before we had our discussion, I'm not going to sit up here and say that I know everything. And I also listen to people around me. That's what I think makes me a good human being, makes me a good citizen out
It's
here.
a bit of a stretch.
And I was like, no, it has to be Super Bowl or bust. But then I went to think about it and appreciate that Alan Yates was able to tell me, hey, that wasn't the mindset coming into the season from a fan perspective, right? But a thing that I was explaining to Yates as well, as the season goes on, expectations do change. And I think from the sense of an expectation standpoint, I do believe at this juncture right now in the season, a lot of people expect the Philadelphia Eagles to go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. And especially you look at how their roster is configured as well. Now, from a front office standpoint, which is a total different outlook on things, I think the front office and the moves they've made during the season tell them that it's Super Bowl or bust. And if you look at how players think in a locker room, they think, okay, the Philadelphia Eagles, we got to go to the Super Bowl or the season is a bust. But necessarily the fan base might not think that way.
Yeah, I think that's one thing for this show. Like, you're coming from the mindset of somebody that was in the locker room playing.
Yes.
And when you're in the mindset, you know as well as anybody that the NFL is business. So next year, you may not even be there. So you don't give a damn about the long line.
And I've been there.
Right.
Because I've been on the Atlanta Falcons in 2012 when we went 13-3. And, we lost in the NFC Championship game to the San Francisco 49ers and had the number 1 seed. And we're saying, okay, you know what, guys, we're going to be here next year. And Tony Gonzalez coming back for another year thinking the same exact thing. But no, it wasn't that in 2013. We didn't make the playoffs in 13. We didn't make the playoffs in 14. So it's not a guarantee that you're just going to make the playoffs or you're going to be in this prime position the following year. So when players look at it sometimes from their outlook or front office people, they say, listen, the moment is now. We got to live in the moment because you don't know what can happen next year. Injuries could play a factor. Your team is going to change. Everyone that's on the roster right now at the moment might not be there next year. So a lot of different things can happen.
I'm going to say something unpopular here. By the way, Harry Douglas, Jason Fitz. When the Raiders went on their run in the early 2000s and they were great, when they lost the Super Bowl, I actually looked at one of my buddies and I said, man, I'd rather not even make the playoffs and have this constant heartbreak of losing weird games in the AFC Championship game and losing the Super Bowl. I said all that stuff. I was like, I'd rather not even make the playoffs. Then I go through double-digit losses for 10 consecutive years. I'm like, screw all that logic. Like, the only problem, and this is just my word to the fans. Like, if you are a Philly fan and you refuse to enjoy this season because you are Super Bowl or bust, and this season's going to be a fail of a season is what half the league is dealing with right now when you win 4 games. The Falcons are having a fail of the season. The Raiders are having a fail of the season.
Well, don't go talk about my Falcons. Talk about your damn Raiders. You leave the Falcons.
The Texans are having a fail of the season.
You're going to bring my Falcons into this. And you sitting over there with Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfro and Darren Waller and
Why are you trying to hurt me? Why are you trying to hurt me?
And Max Crosby and all those, and Chandler Jones. You gonna talk about my Falcons? No, you stay over there with your Raiders.
I'm just saying. Why are you trying to
bring my damn team?
I'm saying, what's the point of watching every week if the only game that you're ever going to let make you happy is the Super Bowl? I know people will say that's a loser's mentality. I'll say that my entire week, every week, changes based on the way the Raiders. I'm a grown ass man. It shouldn't. It does. I can't help it. When the Raiders win, I'm happy. When the Raiders lose, I'm in a bad mood the next day.
Well, you shouldn't have cursed them. The football guys didn't like what you said.
Oh my God. Wayne in Philly is hanging out with us on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. Wayne, what you got, man? Is it you're an Eagles fan, obviously. Philly, Super Bowl or bust?
It's always Super Bowl or bust, Harry. I mean, Fitz, when expectations change in the middle of the season. In the beginning of the season, I'm not going to lie, I had the Eagles going 10-7, 10-6. Won the division against Giants in the last game of the season. That's how I seen it play out. But expectations do change during the season. And another thing, Fitz, Jalen Hurts is the MVP of the league of this alone. He literally changed the RPO game. If you look back in that Dallas game, I counted at least 7 different times where that outside linebacker on the left side jumped to the running back, and Jalen Hurts, knowing Jalen Hurts was in the game, he would have took that ball and ran it up for like 20 yards. we miss Jalen Hurts in that RPO game, and we need him back desperately. So, yes, it is Super Bowl or bust.
Thanks for the call, man. And by the way, I don't disagree on the MVP comment. I think that's been made clear.
He's a Philly fan.
He's a Philly fan, and he's saying that we've gone next. Harry's got
I'm rolling my eyes at Yates and Pat. I'm rolling my eyes at Yates and Pat. That's what I'm doing right now.
This is what happens.
The nuance of his answer.
I mean, but here's the thing. Look, if you put the camera on Harry Douglas, if you're watching us on TV, my guy HD gets this little grin. He gets this grin like a kid in school. It's like, I told you. I told y'all. The minute, he's like, I can't. There's Robbie in Missouri. Is it Super Bowl or bust? Thanks for calling Keyshawn J. Willimax. What you got?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. No, it is not. It's not Super Bowl or bust for Philly. I feel like after winning the Super Bowl that we got to a point to where we thought we were going to be perennial playoff team, and I felt like we've done that. But if we don't win it this year, you got a young core. You've got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Goddard and, Hurts. And I think we got a good left side of the line. So, no, I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust. I think we've got an opportunity here to make progress. But if we don't win the Super Bowl, it's not the end of the world in my eyes.
Yeah, don't miss your turn. GPS telling you to turn there, buddy. We don't want you to miss it. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you hanging.
But did you see some of the things that he's hanging his hat on? He talked about the young core that they do have, and he's not wrong about that. But in so many words, what he's saying that it's not a Super Bowl bust because we're gonna probably be here next year. We're gonna probably be here the year after that. That's not how. It might not always be the case.
Yeah, but and you're right. But man, if the Eagles win on Sunday against the Giants, they will have finished this year 14-3 with the number 1 seed. The only thing that sucks,
remarkable year.
The only thing that sucks about the mindset of the phrase Super Bowl or bust is that there's going to be some fan that's like throwing things at their TV, trying to be a viral sensation when, the Eagles lose in the playoffs, if that happens in this situation. And then they're like, this whole season's like, if you can't enjoy 14-3, then why are you even watching?
Well, here's my thing. Like when I look at, and I follow all sports, Fitz. Of course. And I love me some baseball. When you look at the Phillies, who a lot of people thought shouldn't have even been in the position that they were in the World Series, but they lost to the Astros, right? But they got there. You look at the Philadelphia 76ers and how they've been a disappointment playoff-wise the last few years. Yes, a couple years back, they lost to my Atlanta Hawks, the same Atlanta Hawks that, a lot of people like to bash. But hey, some to none. Also that same year, the Hawks beat the Knicks, but that's a story for another day. And you look at that heartbreak, but you look at that heartbreak and, the pairing of James Harden and Joel Embiid and what they haven't been able to do come playoff time, right? But then you got the Philadelphia Eagles sitting in this prime time spot. Now, I would say before the season, and I give it to Yates and I give it to Pat, it wasn't Super Bowl or bust. And I still don't think now it's Super Bowl or bust. But the expectations have changed within the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, you look at their roster and how it's constructed and how they're built, and if you're to tell me right now that people think anything less than a Super Bowl win, then I'll tell you you're crazy.
You're right, but I think the Bengals are the exact example of what you're talking about. Like last year, the Bengals weren't Super Bowl or bust. This year, there are some pretty high expectations with them. So maybe it's changed. 888, say ESPN, 888-729-3776. A bunch of you guys on hold, not surprisingly. A lot of takes on the Cowboys on this. We will continue to take your Super Bowl or bust thoughts for your favorite team in order to figure out how the fans feel about it. We're always the voice of the people on this show. In the meantime, we'll ask a former NFL coach if the Eagles need to make the Super Bowl for this season to be a success next. Keyshawn, J. Willimax, Harry Douglas, Jason Fitz, in for the guys.
Are you tired of washing dishes? Well, flip the way you clean them with Dawn Platinum Easy Squeeze. It's an upside-down bottle with no cap. You just grab and squeeze. Dawn Platinum's more powerful formula breaks down and removes grease 4 times faster. Huh, nice. No flip, no mess. Platinum is also a go-to grease cleaner for your sink, your countertops, and to pre-treat stains on laundry. Fast, easy. Dawn Platinum Easy Squeeze. Flip the way you clean dishes.
I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat.
It's not a pizza, it's a melt. And for $6.99, it's just for you.
Senor Mayor, with this tower, I will make pizza world famous.
And you.
Yeah, you can see towers like this in Rome, in Venice, in Florence.
But these ones round.
No, I don't know. Maybe a Red Bull will help you see it from a different slant.
Yes, I got it. We'll build it like this.
Perfetto!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Cheese, crackers, Sargento. Yum, 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 yum. Perfectly sized. Cheese and Ritz, cheese and Triscuit, cheese and wheat thins. Cheese, real natural cheese. Now with your favorite crackers.
Sargento.
We're real cheese people.
Now into the end zone. Touchdown. Wilson hooking it up. Tatum step back play.
Allen and the Bills, Burrow and the Bengals. The stage is set for an epic Monday night matchup.
I didn't know you had a band.
This is like my masterpiece.
Hey, Eric. It's Dave. I'm actually going to be in town in a couple of weeks. I'd love to see you, brother. I know it's been a while.
So good to see you too. I got a couple of surprises for you. Okay. Oh, wow. We're back.
We're back. When the perfectly personalized is out there, why buy boring?
Wireless family plans save you money, but then you have to deal with family.
Chloe. Still single, dear?
So I got Visible. Get unlimited data for as low as $30 a month. No family needed.
Is the turkey done yet?
Turkey's done.
Answer the phone.
It's a fire alarm, Grandpa.
Visible. One-line wireless for $30 a month. Switch now to get a 5-year rate lock.
Develop a gorgeous app with Fiverr. You'll need your product manager, QA engineer, and Omar, a Fiverr freelance product designer with an impressive number of orders who will join your team from home. Smart and cozy. Expand your team with a Fiverr freelancer.
When I first started out as a filmmaker, I didn't want to get into credit cards because I realized I didn't know anything about it and it felt very risky to me. So my friend told me about Chime. I got the credit builder card and it was crazy. I didn't have to worry about interest. I didn't have to worry about fees. It wasn't a credit check. My score is up 80 points. I just finished my feature film and it feels like there's a future ahead to where we're saving up to buy a house. Look, if I can do it, you can do it too. Join me at chime.com.
As the Bespoke Postman, I only deliver one high-quality package from Bespoke Post, and it's all been tested by me. Discover the best small brands in the world at BespokePost.com.
A little over 1 mile north of Lumen Field, right next to the iconic Pike Place Market, is a wall that visitors have covered in used chewing gum.
This is an institution.
It is a part of
Look at all the people here.
Yes, the gum has already been chewed.
I know people love it. They touch it. They put more gum on the wall. But for me, yeah.
The Seattle Gum Wall is a cultural landmark. It's unique and, frankly, a little gross.
We're visiting and we're like, why the hell not? It's nice. I don't know. It means something to people, apparently.
But it's not the only famous gum in Seattle.
All right, Pete, we went back through hours of tape and did an exhaustive investigative process. And we thought it probably would be better for us to come here and let you address your in-game habit.
Must be chewing gum, huh?
Take one look at Pete Carroll on game day, and something immediately stands out. He's chewing on bubble gum. And chewing. And chewing. We got it!
I only got one habit. You just hammer the heck out of that stuff, you know. I'm not gonna be in it very long, because I'm gonna get rid of it. So I got to give it a workout while I got it.
So do we have one brand? Do we have one flavor? How does it work?
I'm a bubble gum guy. Yeah.
How many packs of gum? How many pieces of gum do you go through in a given game?
I have no idea. There's a big old box of them, and I just stuff my pockets and go.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
The number one team in my ranking, the New York Jets, pick up Jermaine Jackson, or Jermaine Johnson, not Jermaine Jackson, that's Michael's brother. There's no way he played football. Jermaine Johnson, that I was envisioning in my head if he broke the huddle.
Sprint right option, 268, go on 3, guys. 1, 2, 3. Michael, go to the left, Tito to the right.
Yeah, imagine a Hard Knocks with Jermaine Jackson. At least they would have on gloves.
Ready on 3. 1, 2, 3, ready. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Of course, ESPN2, Harry Douglas, Jason Fitz, in for the guys. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max coming to you live from the Seaport District, Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. Reminder, this is a sneak peek of Fitz and Harry. Starts tomorrow on ESPN Radio from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern every single day. And one of the people that we're just going to call the bat phone all the time, it's later in the day, so you can't say no, is Rex Ryan, ESPN NFL analyst, hanging out with us. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you guys?
Well, we had a fired up morning. Got a little heated this morning trying to put together the show today because there was a conversation about Super Bowl expectations. And what I love is that like there are 3 very different views in this room. I got a former wide receiver, I got a fat kid that played the violin that watched football growing up, and I got a head coach with me.
A fat guy that grew up coaching.
Yeah. So for the Eagles this year, the season's gone so well. Is it now Super Bowl or bust?
Oh, man. I mean, I guess so. I mean, you're this close. You're the number 1 seed, and hopefully we'll keep that. It'd have to be. You know, I mean.
That's when
the
quarterback got hit.
Purdy got hit.
Yep.
And ball floated.
Otherwise, the game would have been over right then and there.
Yeah, well, the game was over in overtime, just like my hopes and my dreams have all been dashed. Way to start 2023 the same way I lived through 2022 with a chaotic, heartbreaking.
They are who we thought they were.
All right. We're going to get to Dan Orlovsky in just a second, see what his observations were. But first, we got to get you this Sports Center update.
Pickett in the gun. Empties the set. Third and 8 at the 10. Gets the snap. He looks. Chased out of the pocket. Steps out of a tackle. Throws it for the goal line. Touchdown, Najee Harris. Najee from 10 yards out. And Pickett did a Houdini to make that play possible. And the Steelers jump ahead of Baltimore.
Sports Center for the second week in a row. Kenny Pickett, calm, cool. Helped the Steelers drive down the field, scored the go-ahead touchdown with less than a minute remaining to complete a 16-13 comeback win against the Baltimore Ravens. It is unconfirmable who he did that to last week. No idea. Pickett completed 5 of 6 attempts for 64 yards, including a 10-yard touchdown to Harris to retake and keep the lead in that big rivalry matchup. Speaking of quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers is one. He played the Packers. Now just a win away from an improbable playoff berth. He's got his defense and special team to thank for continuing Green Bay's reversal of fortune. Keyshawn Nixon scored a 105-yard kickoff return. Savage with a 75-yard pick six. Cousins in a 41-17 blowout. They got knocked a you-know-what out on the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. Packers will reach the playoffs if they beat the Detroit Lions at home in the regular season finale. Speaking of the playoffs, for the first time since 2016, never mind, that's the wrong one. Tom Brady is headed to the playoffs. Threw for 432 yards, 3 touchdowns to Mike Evans. Bucks erased a double-digit fourth-quarter deficit for the second week in a row. They clinched their second straight NFC South championship with a 30-24 victory over the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. We'll tell you about that other playoff victory later in the show. Sports Center, presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online for today. Throws a quick one, and that's picked off by Marshawn Lattimore.
Played a really bad game today offensively. Right now for them, that secondary and that defense, which we thought was a championship level defense, doesn't look to be.
Definitely the most ticked off that I've seen in the locker room this year.
Feature on J. Will and Max on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, Sirius XM Channel 80, and the ESPN app. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm Jason Fitz, hanging out with Harry Douglas. Sneak peek of Fitz and Harry starts tomorrow, noon to 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday on ESPN Radio. All the places that you listen to and watch ESPN Radio, you can hang out with us there. We start tomorrow. We start right now hanging out with our good buddy Dan Orlovsky joining the show. Orlovsky, always appreciate your time, man. What's the level of concern for the Eagles at this point after 2 straight losses?
Oh, it's pretty high. I've been becoming more and more concerned with Philadelphia throughout this season, guys. One, the middle of their defense, I feel, is attackable. I don't think their linebackers are great in zone coverage, and teams have started to exploit that more and more. But I've always felt, well, their front is so good defensively, and both Bradbury and Darius Slay are locked down. And then this is the second straight week that I don't think Slay and Bradbury played well. And so you're sitting there going, all right, this defensive line is very good. There's no question. But when the defensive line isn't married to the coverage, like maybe a San Francisco is defensively, well, then that starts to give me more concern. My biggest concern with their offense, and it's not really any different than it has been this season. One, yes, the health, and that is the different thing than really the middle of the season. Lane Johnson is everything, and they've got injuries on their defense, to be fair. But Lane Johnson and his health is everything. I think he's the second most important person on this offense. But I often say, at least this year for Philadelphia, that they chase the big play. They chase the big play. They chase the big play offensively. Yesterday, in that game, their play calling sequence in the first half, this is what it sounds like to me when a team just chases the big play. This is their play calling sequence. And don't tell me it's not any different, because I've seen it throughout this season. It went pass, 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 run, run, pass, 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 pass. That's their first half. That's not that their philosophy changes for some reason depending on the game, and that gives me